Welcome back to another class of AI, machine learning, data science, and big data analytics. The topic of this class is Introduction to Pandas and data frames, such as loading, cleaning, and also transforming data. Now, I have made this class in separate parts so that it is easier for you to understand. Now, the most important thing that you have to keep in mind before starting the class is that you have to make sure you are connected to the internet, because we're going to be working with a lot of modules or Python libraries. So to make sure those are installed perfectly on your device, without internet, it is not going to work. Now, what you're going to do is make sure you have checked out my previous videos. Now, if you did not, it is going to be a bit tough for you to cover up every topic about this class. So I would suggest you go check out my previous videos and then continue this class. So the first thing that we want to do is open up PyCharm, or if you're not using PyCharm, open up any IDE that you prefer using. So just as you can see on my screen, I have opened up PyCharm. Now let's click on New Project. I'm going to inherit the packages and make sure you have Python, the latest version, installed and detected on your device. Now press on Create to create your environment. Just as you can see, I have created my virtual environment and my project is now on. Now, besides Pandas and also the data frame, we're also going to be learning how we can load the data by creating it, how we can save it, and then using it later on. By the end of this class, we're going to learn about a lot of things, and then I'm going to give you the summary. And if you want to, I'm also going to give you an assignment which you can practice alone, or you can reuse or repeat the codes that I will give you in this class so that it will be easier for you to learn, and also it will give you an idea about how to work with it. So, just like I said, as we're going to be working with a lot of modules, make sure you are connected to the internet. So, first off, we have to know what is Pandas. So, Pandas is also a kind of a module or a library of Python. It is basically used for data analysis, cleaning, manipulation, loading, and also saving your dataset. Basically, if you work with data science or even, let's say, machine learning, Pandas is going to be very important for you, as it is known as to be the foundation of the works of data science or even machine learning. Now, you might think that if we want to work with data analysis, cleaning, and manipulation, we can do that with Pandas default, or maybe even NumPy. But why are you going to choose Pandas is because whenever you are working with Pandas, it makes your data look like an Excel sheet, which basically makes it easier for you to sort, analyze, filter, process your big data workflow. And another thing, or the most important thing, is that with Pandas, you can also integrate a lot more other modules, such as in my previous class, I've shown you NumPy. You can use NumPy along with it. If you want to use Matplotlib for visuals of your data, you can do that too. You can also use scikit-learn and even TensorFlow, so that any type of data that you're trying to work with, everything can be analyzed, cleaned, transformed, or even loaded. So first things first, we're going to open up the terminal. Inside the terminal, first off, I'm going to type in pip install pandas. Now, make sure you are connected to the internet, because if you are not connected to the internet, it is not going to download the necessary things that is needed for your PC or that is needed for your IDE to run these specific modules. Okay, now let's just wait for a bit until those are downloaded and installed successfully on your device. Now, as you can see, it shows us that successfully installed NumPy. After NumPy or Pandas is installed, the next thing that we want to install is going to be OpenPyXL and also Workbook. So type in pip install Workbook. Hit on enter and wait for a bit. It will also show you that it is going to download the necessary things. And the last one is going to be OpenPyXL. So pip install OpenPyXL. Hit on enter and wait for a bit, and you will see in the same way it is going to install all of the packages that is needed for it to function properly. Now we don't need to install JSON, but if you still cannot work with JSON, open up your Python interpreter, go off to interpreter settings, and check it if JSON is working. Now, even if you don't check it, or even if you don't find it over here, what you can do is first off open up another Python file. Now, as we're going to be learning how to, let's say, use those data sets or data frames, we basically need these type of modules or these libraries. Okay, so make sure to keep those things in mind. Now, as we have Pandas, OpenPyXL, and also Workbook, now we can start off our practical class. Now, first off, we're going to learn about the data frame basics and also the series of data. First of all, we need to know how to work with Pandas. So open up a Python file. Let's say example 1. Over here, whenever you are working with Pandas, just like NumPy, you want to type in import pandas as pd, or whatever you prefer to trigger the word. Okay, so after the pd, you're going to type in your listed data or whatever array of data you have. So first off, I need to create a variable. Let's say no equal, I'm going to put in nos equal pd dot series, as these are known as series of data. Let's say 20, 30, 40, and 50. So these are my series of data. Now I'm going to print out the NOS, which is my variable. Run the program, and you will see we have our series of data, and also on the left side, we have our index. So why? It is because when you are working with these type of data or pandas, just like I said, it treats your data and visualizes your data just like an Excel sheet. So it is easier for you to classify, filter, sort, analyze, and even, process those data. Now, these are basically known as data frame. But whenever you are working with a better data frame, or let's say a default data frame, it is going to be a full table in a series, or let's say in a sheet, such as it will be called out with df, or just the exact keyword of data frame. Okay, so first things first, let's say here I'm going to have a data equal. Now, whenever you are creating a data frame, obviously when you are working on an Excel, you have the header, which is the category of data or filtering of the data. So third bracket, hit on enter. Now, what header or what category of data you want? Let's say I'm going to put in user. Okay, so after that colon, and then put in the exact names. Let's say what user is this? Let's say Jim. Then I'm going to have, let's say, Ada. And also, let's say Leroy, comma. Now, obviously, we don't need just one data or one category of data. Instead, let's say I'm going to have the code. Let's say here I'm going to have 26, 27, and also 28. That is going to be their code. Also, let's say I also want their region or server. I put in serv. So let's say this one is on the C server. Let's say the next person is going to be a Middle East. So I'm going to put in MIEA. And the last one is going to be, let's say, the US server. Okay. So that is going to be my data. And after I'm done, we don't need to put any comma on the last category of data. So after that, we're going to create df equal pd dot data frame. Open up a parentheses and type in your variable. On the last line, I'm going to print out the data frame. Now, if I just print out the whole thing, you will see this is exactly how it will look like. You can see we have the header, we have the index, and also we have the type of data. So Jim code is 26, and he is on the C server. We have Ada 27 MIEA, we have Leroy 28 US. So basically it looks like an Excel sheet. And the rows that we have are basically records, and the columns basically have our attributes. And every column that we have is obviously a series of data. Okay? So that is basically how you can create your own data frame, and that is basically the series of data frame basic. Okay? Now, on the next thing, what we're going to learn about is how you can load up data sets. Now, there are different types of, extensions of data set that you can find. Now, some people use CSV, some people use Excel file, and even some people use JSON. So how are you going to make sure to, let's say, use them? Before using them, you also have to know how you can create them. So first off, let's learn about how we can create those files. First off, I'm going to create a Python file. Let's say I'm going to type in create. Okay, so we have create.py. Import the modules first. Import pandas as pd. Import, let's say, OpenPyXL. I'm also going to import, say, workbook. And at the end, I'm going to import JSON. There we go. So basically we have all the things that is going to be important for working. Okay. So instead of import, I'm going to put in from OpenPyXL import workbook. Now, let's create our sample data set. Okay. First off, we need the data. So data over here equal third bracket. Let's say username. Here, the secondary bracket, let's say Alan. Then I'm going to put in, let's say, Barry. Let's say I want Charles. Then I also want, let's say, Dave. The next one is going to be, let's say, their age. Let's say their age. Alan is 25. Barry is 21. Charles is 34. Then Dave that we have is going to be 19. Now, also I'm going to put in their country, whichever country they're from. Let's say Alan is from the USA. Barry is from Scotland. Charles is from, let's say, UAE. And Dave that we have on the other hand is from Finland. Okay, so we have the data. Now on the next part, I'm going to put in df equal pd dot data frame, open parentheses, and type in data. So first off, I want to save the data as CSV. So I'm going to put in CSV underscore path equal double quotation. Now put in the exact name. Let's say sample data.csv. On the next one, df.to CSV. In this way, your data is transformed into CSV. So I'm going to put in the CSV path, which is the variable, comma, and then put in index equals to false. So that is done. Now on the next part, I want to save the data as a JSON file. So put in JSON underscore path equal, same thing. Let's say I'm going to put in sample underscore data dot JSON. Here, what I'm going to do is make sure to put in width open up the parentheses, JSON underscore path, comma. Now, as we are creating this file, which means we are writing this file, double quotation, put in W. Here, I'm going to put in as f, okay, which is also a type of variable. Here, I want to create a dump file so that it is done or made inside my virtual environment. So here, I'm going to type in JSON.dump, open up the parentheses, data, comma, then put in f as the variable, comma, and I'm going to put in an indent, not an index. So here, indent is equal to, let's say, 5 or 4, whatever you prefer. Let's say I'm going to put in 5. Now, the most complicated, or the part which requires a lot of code, is only saving the data as an Excel file. First off, I'm going to put in xlsx underscore, put in path equal, double quotation, sample underscore data dot xlsx, which is the extension. Now, in Excel or in a spreadsheet, first off, we need a workbook. So WB is equal workbook. Open the parentheses. Then, inside the workbook, we have specific worksheet. So we have to select the worksheet which is active. So WS is equal to WB dot active. So it selects the active worksheet. Now I want to append the data in a listed format. So WS dot append. Inside append, I want them as a list. Open the parentheses again, data dot keys. Okay, so we have these specific keys, and we also want to make sure to open the parentheses again. Now we have the data in rows and also columns. So for row in zip, inside of zip, open the parentheses, asterisk, and put in the data values, data dot values. Open the parentheses one time, and that is basically it. Okay, so make sure to put in a colon at the end, and then you want to append the data in a listed row. WS dot append, type in list, open the parentheses, and define in row. After that, we want to save the file. So go into the indentation at the beginning, WB dot save, open parentheses, and define the file name, which is xlsx. There we go. Now at the end, I'm just going to make sure to define them. So I'm going to put in CSV underscore path, comma, space, JSON path, and also xlsx. So that is basically it. Now if we run this program, you will see finished, and all of them has been created over here. Sample data CSV, sample data JSON, and sample data xlsx. In this way, all of the data has been created. Now, what we're going to do, or the last part of this class, is going to be let's say, working with these data sets. So we're going to start off by reading these files, cleaning these files, and also we're going to remove the duplicates, and then we're going to work with data transformation. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is reading these files. So first off, let's create another Python file. Let's say I'm going to put in test read. Okay, first things first, let's say import pandas as pd, df equal pd dot read underscore csv. Now, as we have the CSV, now which file do we want to work with? So let's say I want to work with the sample dataset or sample data.csv. Now we want the first 5 rows. So I'm going to print out, let's say df.head, open the parentheses, run the program, and there we go. We have all of the data. Okay. In the same way, you can see whenever we put in read, there are other formats too. Now, one thing you have to learn over here is the read CSV and also the head. What do these actually do? When you put in .read CSV, it loads the comma separated data, which is the extension of the file. And also, when you put in head, it gives you a quick preview of the file that you want to work with. Let's say if you want to read out your Excel file, instead of CSV, read underscore Excel. Okay, so instead of df, I'm going to put in df underscore Excel. So we have pd dot read Excel. Then instead of CSV, we just put in XLSX. And we print out the exact same thing. But here, df underscore Excel dot head, run the program, and you can see in the same way, the same type of data will appear up. Okay, so it's basically the same for the JSON file too. Type in JSON, also do the same thing over here, type in JSON, do the same thing over here, just change it to JSON, and also do the same thing over here, JSON. Run the program, and there we go. We have the exact same data in the same way, reading up in the exact same manner. So this is basically how you read your data from different formats. Now, this is the most important thing, which is cleaning. Okay, so cleaning is very important because in data science, the data that you have changes rapidly like evolution. So you have to change it and you have to clean it when you don't need it anymore. First off, we put in df.info. So let's say I also want to print out, let's say df underscore JSON, then put in .info. If I run this program, you will see it will give me out the exact type of data. You can see we have integer value, we have objects, we have non-null, we have username, age, country, we have data types which are integer, which is 1, and object, which are 2, which is also the string value. Now, it also shows you in columns, rows, indexes, 0 to 3, there we go, all of them. If you have any missing values, it will also show you. If you want to check only the missing values, what you basically have to do is type in print df underscore JSON, which is it, and then type in is null. So type in is null, open up the parentheses, just like this. Okay, make sure to put it exactly the same. After that, after the parentheses, put in .sum. Also open up the parentheses and run the program. When you put the program just like this, it is going to run it just how you want it to be. Now you might see that you can see the sum takes at least 1 positional argument and 0 given. So we don't have anything to print out over here. Okay, you can see JSON is null sum. So instead of that, I'm just going to put in dot sum. Run the program, and there we go. In all of the category of data, there is 0 null value or 0 missing value. If you find out that there are any missing row, you can do that too. What you basically do is put in df underscore cleaned. df JSON underscore cleaned equal df dot drop na. Now in this manner, what you can do is you can remove the missing rows. Run the program, and there we go. You can see we have this parentheses at the beginning, which is never closed. So what you basically have to do is that we're going to check out the exact line where it is, which is on line 8. So we're going to close the program and run it back again. Now you can see we have df dot drop na. Now that is not just df. What we have to do is underscore JSON. Run the program, and there we go. If there is any missing row, it is going to remove the whole row from the data, or let's say from the data set. And if you want to fill in any missing values, what you basically do is, let's say over here, I'm going to put in 0 over here and run this program again. It is going to have the exact same data, but here if I run these programs, you will see that there might be 0 once again. Okay? Because what we have created is already created. Okay? Now, one thing that I want to show you is how you can fill out the missing values. If you want to fill out the missing values, you put in df, whichever value it is or whichever variable it is. Now here, I'm going to put in underscore and type in any type of variable. Then put in df underscore JSON not cleaned, but after that, you put in dot fill na. Parentheses open, third bracket open. Now here, let's say if any age or any of the data has 0. So define 0, comma, and here, double quotation, city. If there is any value which is given here as unknown, then what I want to do is I want Python to remove all of those values. Okay? In that way, when you put in drop na, this one, it basically deletes the row containing any null values, and when you are using fill na, it replaces the missing value with any type of value by presuming, or even let's say just by checking the whole data, what would go better with the data. That's how it fills it up. If you find any duplicates in your data set, there are also specific function. Let's say df JSON underscore, let's say dup. I'm going to put in duplicates equal. I'm going to put in df JSON. After that, here I'm going to put in dot drop underscore duplicates. In that way, if there is any data that contains any duplicates, it is going to remove it directly. Why are you going to do it? Because sometimes when you have those duplicate datas, it can cause some incorrect analysis. So what you basically have to do to train your models is clean up your data just by using these type of functions. Okay? So that is basically how you work with dataset. Now, the last thing that we're going to learn in this class is going to be data transformation. So let's create another Python file. So first off, we want to select the columns. So first things first, we have to make sure we print out the data. Here, I'm going to just make sure to use these type of data. Control C. And instead of just JSON, I'm just going to put in df. Okay. And over here, we have the data. You can see. This is the exact data that we are using. Or we can just copy this. Control C. There we go. If we run this program, we can see data frame is not defined. Here I'm going to put in print, or let's say import pandas as PD. Okay, so you can see PD is not defined, so run the program again, and there we go. We have the data. Now I don't want to print out the data, but have the data over here. Now in this data frame, I want to select columns. So print df secondary bracket double quotation. Let's say I want the usernames. So put in username, run the program. There we go. We have the username. What if you want to get the country at the same time? So after the username, put in, let's say, a comma, double quotation. Let's say country. And as we have two of them, I'm going to put in two secondary brackets. There you go. We have two secondary brackets. So close it off with two secondary brackets at the same time. Run the program. And there we go. We're going to have the username and also the country at the same time. Now, what if you want to filter your rows directly by printing? Let's say I'm going to have adults equal df, secondary bracket df again, secondary bracket, now defined in the age. Let's say I only want to get people who are above, let's say 20. Okay, I'm just going to put in 20. Anybody above 20. Okay, so here I'm going to print out adults. Run the program. And there we go. Only Alan and Barry is an adult. Now, I'm going to sort out the data. So I'm going to put in sorted underscore df equal df dot sort underscore values. Let's say I'm going to get the age, comma. Now, as I want to sort them out, I want them in a descending manner. So here, I'm going to put in ascending equals false. And at the end, I'm going to print out sorted data frame. Run the program. And there we go. We have it. Alan, Barry, Dave, and Charles. But you can see on the age, we have 25, 29, or 21, 19, and then 0. Okay? So this is exactly how it works. What if you want to add in a new column? If you want to add in a new column, we put in data frame, secondary bracket, let's say age, underscore, let's say 10 or 15 years later, equal df, secondary bracket, let's say age plus 15. If I run the program, you will see it is not going to show up. Okay? But it is going to add it up. Okay? So you have to keep that thing in mind. Now, as you can see, we have this over here, which is df age 15, like this. Now, if we print out, let's say, data, or just the data frame, run the program, and at the end, you can see we have age 15 years later, 40, 36, 15, and 34. So this is exactly how it works. Now, the last thing that I want to show you is how you can group and also aggregate, which is very important for machine learning, data preparation, and even sometimes in AI. Let's say I'm going to put in country group equal df dot group by. Open up the parentheses. Now let's say I want the country first. After the country, I'm going to put in the age. Then I'm going to get the mean value. Then I'm going to print out country group. Run the program, and you will see we have the country group 19, 21, 00, and also 25. So the group data is shown in a column, and when you want to aggregate the functions, you have to basically just put in those, mean, sum, minimum, and maximum functions, which is basically just keywords. So that is basically it for this whole class. So what you have learned in this class is what is Pandas, what are series and data frames, how to load in CSV, Excel, and JSON files, also how you can create them, how to clean up missing and duplicate data, and how you can sort, filter, and also transform your dataset. Now, what you can do as the project is you can load up your own file, removing the duplicates. You can fill in the missing values. You can create a new column. Let's say, as I have created the country group, what you want to do is create an age group. And also, what you should do is group the age with the country and find the average age. Okay? So that is going to be it for this class, and hope you understood about everything. If you have any confusion or any question, feel free to ask me anytime. I'm always there to help you out. So without any further ado, let's move on to our next class of AI, machine learning, data science, and big data set.